Good morning and welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. Today, the 15th day of May 2019. I am your host, Daniel Atai. This morning we will continue with our discussion yesterday on the local government financial autonomy as granted by President Muhammadu Buhari, authorizing the Nigerian financial and intelligence unit to oversee the fund from the federal allocation to the state and local government coffer. This morning, we will have a critical look at the role of the NFIU and how they will play this role to facilitate or implement this very policy at the third tier of government. Stay tuned. Shortly, we'll be back after this time out.
Introducing Natch Concert, Africa's #1 satellite communication company, dedicated to providing the platform for TV station operators to broadcast favorite programs, news, and events, with state-of-the-art broadcast equipment of non-stop in-programming transmitted through over 34 countries across Africa, Europe, and the entire globe. We are a hotspot for taking your business beyond imaginable boundaries. So, for the best of news, movies, events, documentaries, sports, and all-round entertainment, subscribe to Natch Concert.
Yeah, welcome back. And I have to sincerely apologize for coming behind schedules today. It is due to some technical hitches. However, with me in the studio, like it was yesterday, is Mr. Silvanus Ope. Mr. Silvanus is a civil rights activist and a public affairs analyst. Welcome to Television Nigeria.
My pleasure.
Today on Spectacle, I want us to continue looking at the striking performance of this policy. You know, it's a striking performance by the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, this is one of the best policies that will see development at the rural areas, especially at the 774 local government areas in Nigeria. We haven't had it so nice with autonomy, talking about financial autonomy, in the past 20 years. That is 2 decades plus. But today, we have arrived where we can say the local government, of course, will have development, we'll see new trends of development to meet the standard of the 21st century. Welcome once again. I want us to look at the role of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit as prescribed with reference to the publication of the nation's newspaper a week ago today. I will read it so that you will give me your take. It says local government financial autonomy is set for a major boost, courtesy of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU. The agency yesterday, look at one of those things they have done. Yesterday, that was 8 days ago now, banned banks, governors, financial institutions, public officers, and other stakeholders from tampering with the statutory allocations of local government areas from the federal accounts. It also said all erring individuals and companies will face international and local sanctions. Some of the sanctions are: 1, likely blacklist of erring governors and the chief executive officers of the affected banks. 2, shutting down of any erring bank. And 3, watch list of violators in 160 countries where they cannot transact business or pay bills. The agency has imposed a daily 500,000 naira cash transaction as a limit on all the 774 local governments. But one of the major highlights of the new guidelines, which will become effective from June 1st, borders on the restoration of the financial autonomy of local government, which you were saying it is not visible under the joint account and the constitutional framework of the 1999 as amended. Each local government is now free to spend its funds judiciously, without taking directives from governors who have hijacked the monthly allocations of the third tier of government under the guise of state joint account, local government accounts. Now, let me now continue to read on and on and on. You have heard the functions of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. And yesterday, you made mention that they do not have that power under the Constitution to do that. And could you please explain little on that?
You know, the National Intelligence, Financial Intelligence Unit was hitherto a body, an agency under the EFCC. But with a recent bill sent by the executive to the National Assembly, is now an independent body charged with the sole responsibility of supervising the disbursement of allocation directly sent to the local government accounts. But one fact remained the same. The joint account under the 1999 Constitution was retained. The money will still be sent to the joint account under the guideline released by Nigerian National Financial Intelligence Unit. Yeah. The joint account will be retained.
Yes.
What is the problem now? What raises the constitutional question? What has raised an umbrage on the media is the disbursement. How will it be disbursed? Who supervises it? Who controls it?
That is
where the NFIU
comes
came
in. Yes.
And if the NFIU has been mandated by the executive through the guideline they released of recent, to supervise the disbursement of funds.
And not only to supervise, they have even banned banks, governors, stakeholders, and what have you, from tampering
with the accounts of the local
government.
Ensure effectiveness.
Yes, I think that is effective implementation of what that fund is meant to do at the local level.
Yes. But constitutionally, Section 3 of the Revenue Allocation, Federal Account Act, ETC, 1982, which brought to fore how monies are disbursed from the Federation account, stipulates joint account between the state and the local governments. Going forward to Section 162, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution, it states that monies to the local government accounts should be sent to the joint account between the local government and the state governments.
Good.
With state governments with a prescribed way of expenditure by the State House of Assembly. Now, this law...
okay, good. That is a very nice point. With a prescribed way by the State Assembly.
The state can determine how the money is being spent.
Good.
Section 162, subsection 8, gives the state the sole power to determine how much goes to any local government under its jurisdiction.
Gives the state
powers to determine how much goes to any local government within its jurisdiction and how the money is being disbursed.
That is an outreach to the fact that the local government is a tier of its own.
That's what we are saying. We have been happy as Nigerians, as analysts, as civil rights activists, as proponents of good governance.
Good.
There is no way the local government can function effectively and bring the government closer to the people with it being a mere appendage of the state government.
Okay, it then means that you are the affirmation of what this body has come to do with the Nigerian financial institution.
I'm in total support of the NFIU and the standing of the federal government.
Good.
But where I have differences is the
supervision,
the legal backing.
Okay, now
the legal
talking about the legal backing, the constitution you just quote said the governor or the governors will supervise. You understand? Don't you think that, Mr. President, since the local government, the state government, and the federal government are all entities of their own, you understand? And as an entity, the president can say, okay, I can, even within my executive power, say that since this local government is an entity, the state government is an entity, independent of each other, the federal government is an entity, and this joint account is bringing underdevelopment to the local government, I have to remove, because the lacuna there is the supervision given to the governors. Now, if the governors are no longer to supervise the money, I do not see any constitutional infringement there. Now, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit have been given that responsibility of the governors. You understand? Under the same law and under the executive power of Mr. President, that look, there is corruption here. These people don't allow the local government to develop, to try. No development is in a shabby, abysmal level. So, since you are an agency responsible for monitoring financial crimes and so on, I think you will do better in this facet, in this area, so that you monitor funds going into the local government, also monitor their implementation, and also ensure judicious, spending of such money of such fund at the local government. So, do you think that that is still an infringement by Mr. President against the Nigerian Constitution?
Like I said yesterday, I'll still reiterate that this is the best pro-people policy a government is implementing in Nigeria.
Good.
We will commend the president
after 2 decades.
After 2 decades plus. We will commend the president for his courage. And what assumes from this singular action is an intimate affection for the people of Nigeria.
That's good.
But then I will also remind you that there is what we call judicial review, a power reserved by the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, introduced by the 1963 Republican Constitution. What this means is that the actions of the president must be subject to the constitutional framework in place in the country. If the president goes on to implement any actions that are not constitutional, the court can declare them ultra vires, null and void. Or every action of the president must be intra vires the law. It must not go outside the ambits of the law. What the president is doing is very good. But what we are saying is that there are constitutional hitches here and there that might lead this thing into an issue that will cause legal squabbles in the court. The president, what we expect the president as a lover of the people, which he has demonstrated through this policy, is for him to get a legal backing for each and every one of these actions. I am certain that if the president brings this to the board of the National Assembly, we will now take it from there. We will force them. We will do everything within our powers as activists and as individuals to bring them to their knees, to make sure that they see reasons with us to implement it. Because the people in the grassroots, there is infrastructural decay in the grassroots, in every state of the Federation. So we are looking for policies like this that will speed up development at the grassroots level, but there must be intra vires the law. We cannot forget in a hurry how the court declared some actions of even Abacha intra vires the law when late Gani Fahimi took him to court. So even under the military regime, the head of states are always subject to the Constitution. That is constitutionalism or the supremacy of the law.
And then do you think this constitutional framework and the judiciary and the legislative arm, especially that of the National Assembly now, would probably linger on this and begin to talk technicalities like, as usual, prolong the issues of governance and based on, jurisdictive power, and say we are the judiciary, we are the legislators, we are supposed to do this, we are supposed to do that. Do you see it coming? And could you say that the do you trust the Nigerian judiciary? Do you believe in the judiciary?
It should be a work in progress. The three arms of government are instituted in every country to ensure good governance.
Good.
All of them boils down to the good and welfare of the people.
And how has it been fair?
And
hold on.
Let me come. Since this policy is a welfarist policy that will benefit a generality of the Nigerian people and extricates the local government councils from the whims and caprices of the dictators in our states, we expect that the judiciary and the legislative arms of government will join hands together with the executive to ensure total implementation of this policy.
Good. Yesterday you said you see some legal hitches, coming towards this policy. And now today you are of the opinion or of the analysis that the judiciary, in case any individual goes to court or challenging this policy and the directive of Mr. President to the NFIU, and then you are also saying that the House of Assembly, the National Assembly might, begin to linger on jurisdictive power. In this case, hold on, let me learn. For the past 2 decades, let me say 3 decades, as witnessed at the local level, if you go to your village and you see things, bridges burnt down, broken, no road to follow, market, dilapidated, no structure, no pipe-borne water, primary health care, zero, and sometimes we have to live by pharmacists, chemists, and so on, no hospitals at the rural levels, and funds keep coming in the every year budget to the local government to facilitate and implement all the social amenities for developmental strides. Since the past 3 decades that I have witnessed in my own local village, these things have not been so. Do we have the Senate, the House of Rep, and the judiciary in these past 3 decades? And what has stopped them? Do we have this policy, this joint account policy? You quote 1982 from the section. 1982, that this law was amended and constituted in 1982 to have local government and state joint account together. Now, 1982 to now, you know how long it has been. You understand? Have you seen any implementation of this fund allocated to local level under the judiciary, under the National Assembly, under whatsoever guys that under the watch of these persons, of these arms of government? If not what the president has just implemented, should they go against this policy?
Let me say here now,
yes,
that this is the best fight against corruption.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But our federalism is shaky. We don't have true federalism, fiscal federalism. Yeah. If you want to start probing into the finances allotted to local government, you must first look at even the ones into the states. We have a shabby way of implementation of financial policies of the state and the local government levels. And all we are saying, nobody is saying this policy is not a good one. And we are not sure if the Senate or the House of Reps will not be in support of the policy yet.
Okay, what would you advise them?
What I will advise, we have comrades in the House now. We have comrades in the Senate now. One of them should pick up the gauntlet, present this bill, Bring it up before the House. Let us see who will vote against it, and the Nigerian people will know who is against their program.
Now, since it is not a matter of bill per se now, the president has directed the NFIU to go ahead
from June 1st.
From June 1st, and already orders have been issued to banks and governors and everybody to step aside and stay away from local government funds. And any bank found wanting giving out local government funds to any governor or stakeholders or whatsoever or party will be held accountable. In fact, will be punished according to the law. Now, if this policy, this very policy, is to be jettisoned or looked down upon or carried out with a levity by the Senate and the judiciary, especially the court of law, what would you pretend them to be?
There will be danger if we do not put our hands on deck to ensure that this policy succeeds. This is a step forward towards political reorganization of Nigeria, development-wise. But what we will go on to say is that there should be a proper constitutional foundation.
I think that is ongoing. It's less for the Senate
to avoid it being cut short. Because I know what I'm saying. We foresee many, like the NGF refused to comment on it.
The Nigerian Governors Forum.
They refuse to comment on it. Do you think they will just hold their hands to watch this strive? They are coming for it. And that is why we want it to be perfectly grounded constitutionally. So that whenever they come, we have something to back it up. Let it be engraved in the Constitution so that the policy will outlive President Muhammad Buhari.
Okay, very good.
Who knows who is coming next after him? Whether he will be a pro-people president.
In the first place, I don't even know
let Buhari make it.
Who made the law and said that the governors should oversee the
Let Buhari make it a lasting policy by engraving it in the Constitution to ensure it outlives his administration. By so doing, the Nigerian people will enjoy the dividend of democracy at the grassroots level. That is.
Now, good.
If we have committed local government chairman.
We are coming to that, the political autonomy of the local government. Now, you struck a point just now. You said the president should make it a kind of a sustainable law so that it will have continuity in Nigerian government in terms of this very policy. Now, talking about sustainable law, these political hindrances towards some appenditures of Mr. President and the tussles between him and the National Assembly, this political party affiliation stuff that sometimes come out to play. Don't you think if the president perhaps finishes his tenure, if this present 8th Assembly backs this very policy and he ends his 4 years second tenure and another president comes who might be pro the governors, pro, you understand, and approve that we go back to the Constitution and ask the state governors to oversee, you understand, to oversee the joint account instead of the NFIU. Do you see that possibility because of political tussles and party affiliations coming to play?
The law is alive. The law is alive and it will continue to grow. That is the dynamism of the law.
Okay, good.
The president ought not to take that into consideration before doing his part. If the president coming after him is pro-status quo, that is going back to the governors controlling the finances of the local government, then Nigerians will know that this is our enemy. The Nigerian people are starting to entrench their electoral
Okay, for instance,
power.
so if the National Assembly, the both arms of the National Assembly fails to back this policy up, the people will see them as
anti-people. Have you seen any bill that this current assembly refused to pass? They are afraid of the people. Even with the squabble with President Muhammad Buhari, they had always judiciously ensured that bills that will benefit the generality of Nigerians are passed. I give that to Saraki and the Yakubu Dogara. Yakubu, they are refined gentlemen, and we are counting on them to bring their large experiences to bear in the well-being of Nigerians. They ought to do everything within their power legislative experiences to ensure that Nigerians far away from the corridors of power feels the air condition they are feeling in their offices.
Talking about bills passed, I don't want to go into that. If not, I would have digressed into the issue of this popular bill of this Nigerian Peace Corps. But that is not a topic for today. Probably in the nearest future we'll bring that to bear because the National Assembly didn't do anything about it.
But they have passed the bill.
Have they passed that
bill? Of the yes.
Okay, so it is left for the president to sign. All right, now after this time out, we'll come back to discuss the issue of the political autonomy of the local government. Stay with us, and then shortly we'll be back.
Sport for taking your business beyond imaginable boundaries. So, for the best of news, movies, events, documentaries, sports, and all-round entertainment, subscribe to Natch Concerts. We offer services in e-government, telecommunication, tele-education, telemedicine, DTH platform, and many more. You can visit our Abuja office is at Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited, Obasanjo Space Center, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Expressway, Lugbe, Abuja, Nigeria. Our Lagos Regional Business Office, 11 Awolowo Road, opposite Lagos Motorboat Club, Southwest Ikoyi, Lagos, Nigeria. Call us on 234-907-027-6416. Email us at www.natchconcert.gov.ng. Natch Concert, African rooted, globally positioned.
Welcome back to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. We are still on the topic of financial autonomy, local government financial autonomy. We want to have a look at political autonomy right now because they go hand in hand. The political autonomy guarantees the free implementation of financial autonomy. Because if you are not free politically, the issue of you are, what do they call it, minority, you are this in the state, could affect your implementation. Or the issue of godfatherism, how your election was conducted, how you came to be on that seat, could affect the financial implementation. And the NFIU could also be left in the jungle, wondering or in dilemma of what to do because they are a federal body and they are not state body or the local government body. So we'll look at the implication of political autonomy that you hinted yesterday as regard to this local government financial autonomy granted by Mr. President. What do you have to say about how could political autonomy interfere into the implementation of a local government financial autonomy?
Just like you say, there is no way this financial autonomy...
First of all, what is political autonomy?
When we talk of political autonomy, we envisage a situation where the local government is independent of the state government. Not independent like cutting it from the state, but doing their things independently without undue interference or overlordship from the state governors.
Like what kind of independency?
Political dependency, a local government chairman being a thug to the governor, being a boy to the governor, a godson.
But that would always happen.
It will, but it should be curtailed to the barest minimum.
And how do we...
When we come to state governors now, we have almost a perfect state governorship arrangement. Most of them can never and are not loyal
to the president,
to the point of doing his biddings at all times. You see most of them play no position, How many states in Nigeria can you see opposition local government chairman? It's not achievable. You cannot see it. Any local government chairman, if you go to any state, all the local government chairmen are boys to the governor. Until we achieve the severe...
And you think the governors insist that happens?
Yes. Until we severe that umbilical cord that politically renders the local government chairman cannon folders of the state governors, we will continue to discuss the issue of financial autonomy that is not achievable.
So it means it is a factor. Political autonomy is a factor that could militate against the NFIU.
Great factor.
Over the implementation of financial autonomy for the local government.
Without the political autonomy of local government.
Are you saying that state INEC electoral commissions should not conduct local government elections?
Starting from there is no way state electoral commissions, as presently constituted, can conduct free, fair, and transparent elections that will bring pro-people local government chairmen to offices. People that will effectively implement this financial autonomy cannot come on board with the recent political arrangement in the states.
So you are of the opinion
I am of the opinion that just as NFIU has come on board to supervise the financial disbursement and expenditure of the local government, there should be an independent agency, not even accountable to the federal government, that will engineer.
No, but the NFIU is accountable to the federal government.
It is. Everybody is accountable. When I mean accountability, I mean that the federal government can remote control. We want a body that will be independent of federal government or state government control politically to conduct elections, just like INEC.
Okay, what about INEC?
Just like INEC is accountable to the federal government, but they are independent.
Okay, INEC is independent.
Yes.
And INEC, but state INEC Electoral Commission, you said they are not independent.
They are not. INEC is more powerful when it comes to conducting elections than the state electoral commission.
So you have the opinion that INEC should conduct local government elections?
If INEC cannot conduct local government elections, a body with a federal outlook, a uniform outlook, should conduct all the local government 774 local government council elections in Nigeria. Maybe at a time, let us make it uniform like governorship and presidential elections.
I think you have a point. You have a point there.
Let it be uniform. They will set a date, 10th of March, 15th of April, local government election in Nigeria, all the states.
So that it will do away with this issue of imposition of candidates.
Nothing like governors' interference. Any state can get from. You see, when 2-3 states will have opposition local government chairman, they will sit up. Then local government chairman will be bold enough to not to submit to the whims of the governor, knowing that financially they are autonomous. They don't need to run to the state governor for feeding bottle.
What about the state assembly? I think the president too have given the state assembly the financial autonomy.
What we see when you give, the only thing that can salvage this country is financial autonomy rooted in a politically autonomous climate.
Politically autonomous climate.
If you look
like
at
the conduct of elections should not
even the state
be done by state government.
Even the state
local government elections should not be conducted by state government. No. So that they don't interfere.
How many states in Nigeria do you see a single? There has never been any election in the local government. I went to observe a local government election in Enugu. I was a student of the University of Nigeria. When I went there, I saw people in a hall thumb printing. It was Colonel Onubuya of Uzuan local government. He was the one doing the election. There was no opponent.
Would you see
all the materials were in PDP offices? They will bring it. They pay you to be thumb printing from beginning to the end.
What about APC offices?
Which APC? Nobody will even allow you have access to the materials. So you understand, we don't have a viable electoral process as far as local government election is concerned.
And do you think the INEC, the federal INEC Electoral Commission is also viable?
I think INEC is doing better. we see them improving.
That state.
We see them. Okay, look at the state's PDP one. We see a balanced INEC that is trying hard to extricate itself from the overbearance of the federal government. And we give credit to the distinguished men of integrity who has continued to man that position in the INEC office.
All right.
Give them credit.
All right, thank you very much. Again, I want us to look at the Federal Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission. You know, this is a body that, you know, harness all the revenue from the gross domestic product, and then at the end of every fiscal month or year, disburse revenue that should be allocated for governance, like we said, about this policy to the states and local government. Now, the local government has been given a autonomy for now, and you also want the local government to be given political autonomy, even from the perspective of many analysts and commentators. Good. The revenue allocation, the local government do have what we call internally generated revenue accounts with the federal allocation, Federal Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Should this account be made bare now to the same NFIU to see how much MOU or contributions, what we call counterpart funding from the local government in terms of seeking fund from the this Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission to implement particular project, you know, in a local government. Should this very account that is with the Federal Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission be laid bare, just like the joint account of the state and local government, and be laid bare and handed over to the NFIU? Should this same account be handed over to NFIU for monitoring too?
You know, when we talk of transparency, it is more transparent in the federal than coming down to the local government. Why did I say so? If you come to the federal level, you have an auditor general, you have offices that one can easily access information. You know how much that's accrued through you. You see, people have data. Since the passage of the information
it's like that too. It's like that in the
local
state and the local government.
In the local government, we don't have that.
We have auditors.
You have auditor generals.
Not generals. You have auditor, the auditor department. You have the accounting department. You have the treasurer.
You know why
you have the monitoring scheme.
Federal government is.
But perhaps the political autonomy affects them.
Do you know why that of the federal is a bit transparent? That is where money goes into. Like when Sanusi raised a land, the then governor of Central Bank, of money that is not disbursed, not remitted.
Now an emir.
Now not remitted to the federal account. People have data of what comes into the country because it involves diverse channels, which makes information accessible to many persons. But local governments just send them money and they start spending. We know how much that is in account at the end of every fiscal year.
No, I'm talking about month now. Now, monthly, usually the data we have now, I'll bring the data on the course of this discussion, maybe another time. Like last year, 2018, general data for federal allocation to state was tagged at a whopping sum of 150 billion to a particular state. Billion, not million. 150 billion naira to a particular state I won't mention. You understand? But if you look at the local government in that state, some local government have, from the federation account, 150 million and 120 million and 130 million respectively. That is all are over 100 million monthly. But what goes into that account of some of this local government, not more than 20 million and 15 million. You see, that completely jettisoned the idea of what we call a local government development. You understand? So what would you advise now this IGR? Should it be made bare to the NFIU as well, just like the joint account?
Yes. I think with what you have just explained, there is this necessity to ensure tracking from the federal level that the NFIU,
in all
facets of the financial movements, that they are given the opportunity to continuously monitor the movement of money.
All right, thank you, Mr. Silvanus.
And outside.
There is no time for us in this program again. You are welcome again. I'm happy you are still here with me. Another time I will call on you. Now, that will be all on Spectacle this morning. Thank you. Mr. Silvanus Okwe has hit some point on this very financial autonomy given to local government by the president, and as well advocates for what we call political autonomy, as well as making bare the IGR account with the Federal Revenue Allocation and Fiscal Commission of the financial body responsible for transferring funds to local governments and state joint account. Thank you this morning for watching, and keep sending your contribution to Spectacle program on Television Nigeria using the addresses showing on your screen. Our social media platforms, our YouTube platform, our Twitter platform, Instagram, and so on. We are live. Even our digital phone numbers are there, and we can be found on Nikon Sat using your decoders. I think a strong decoder unit 4. You can get us and follow us online. Thank you for today's program.